Welcome back. We all want to know what the kids are talking about on social media, and apparently there is a viral rise in skinny girl hacks on TikTok.
Oh boy, and some of the hacks are actually quite harmful to young women's health. Here to help us bust the skinny talk culture is Rachel Engelhart, the executive director at Eating Recovery Center. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, why is this trend so harmful? And in fact, I hadn't heard of it, but I have now learned that it's very viral, very popular.
Yeah, so it's this culture on social media where people are creating content that gives ideas about how to, kind of idealizing this kind of disordered eating.
Got it.
So they're sharing recipes or what, or it's different for everybody who's using it?
Yeah, I think that we've all seen probably elements of it, what I eat in a day, or here's how you trick someone into this, or how you get away with that. It's just a sharing of information that can be really harmful, especially when we think about kids and how susceptible they are to these ideas and how vulnerable they are to these messages.
So, and then there's psychological, there's physical risks, of course, because they're believing these things and they're following.
Well, if they're taking this as gospel, which unfortunately I think we know that many people are, that's how they treat social media, then that means that they're then impacting what they're eating. So they're not eating sufficiently, they're not getting their nutrient needs met. That has a really big impact in terms of their way they function in everyday life. So they might be more fatigued, they might be losing hair, they might be growing hair in places of their bodies. So it's really important that we're paying attention and noticing if we're seeing kind of changes in their behavior.
Is it mostly targeted at teenagers, young adults? Is that who, or are they absorbing the information more than anyone else who's watching the trend?
I think sadly, if we're being honest with ourselves, I think we're all really susceptible to these messages. Social media inundates us with messages and ideas, and it can be really hard to decipher what's real, what's helpful, and what's harmful.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay, what specific red flags, what things should we be looking for in our young people that clues us off that they're struggling a little bit, or they're
Well, first off, let's monitor their social media. Let's really be thoughtful about what we're giving our kids access to. If you're seeing that they're looking at this kind of information, using it as an opportunity for media literacy and like really saying, well, what do you think this is, what's happening here? Is this healthy? Is this harmful? Is this what we should be aspiring to? And really just helping them create the understanding and the ability to really be literate at this stuff. And then also, in terms of the red flags, behavior changes. If they're not eating the foods that they normally ate, if they're not joining in at meal times, all of those kinds of things, we really want to just pay attention. And any kind of thing that's out of the norm, ask questions, get curious, ask for help.
All right, so we can't just take away the social media and say we're done, right? Like,
I think that if you're a family that hasn't yet, I would delay it as much as possible.
I'm with you.
I think
delay as
but
much
for
as
many
possible.
of us, it's too late.
If
Anxious
it's already
Generation
there.
came out too late, and people don't have that. But I do think it's okay for us to say, as a family, I think we need to think about how we're using social media. I think we need to have a conversation about what you're seeing, what you're being exposed to. I think it's really okay for families to call a family meeting and say, like, let's talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've identified what are these risk factors. How do we fill it as parents with positive and healthy messaging?
Yes. So one, I think limiting access to this information. So even I was talking about kind of the content or who they're following, but also time, maybe not making social media something that they have access to all the time. And then of course it's modeling healthy behavior. So talking about our bodies in a healthy, positive, neutral way, talking about foods in a neutral way, making sure that we're serving our families a variety of different nutrients, and just really trying to embrace a healthy relationship to ourselves.
Be that example.
Exactly.
You can do it. Thank you
Exactly.
for explaining this to us.
Absolutely. For healthy tips you can find on social media, you can follow them at Eating Recovery on Instagram and Eating Recovery Center on Facebook.